You are watching the Pan-African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tatah. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherlands calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 hashtag 1 million subscribers on the Pan-African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa. Yes. It is breaking. It is breaking on the Pan-African Daily TV. And joining me in just a couple of minutes is King Maponga Joshua from Zimbabwe, as we want to talk about Kenyan Decide 2022. Kenyans Decide 2022 is a breaking that is coming up live from the Pan-African Daily TV, as Kenyans are seen jubilating the victory of the then elected pronounced official president of Kenya in the name of Excellency William RUTO. And the hustlers are chanting and they're celebrating. So we want to know, because Zimbabwe is next year. Zimbabwe is on the list. So we want to know how the Zimbabweans are celebrating, how Africans are celebrating. I can see King Maponga is already in the studio. And we want to just find out, how are Kenyans celebrating the victory and what is going to change, getting His Excellency William RUTO as the next elected president of Kenya. And we want to start looking forward to Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe is going to be next on our list, as we are saying. And we want to find out. How Africans are going ahead, how they're celebrating, how they're jubilating. What are the young people expecting? What are they anticipating? What is it that they want to see? What is it that they want? The Africa that we want. Thank you so much, Ernest. You can see the king is sitting here very fresh. Tell me something, King Maponga. Did you just have a shave? I saw that beard. They really were down. Now they're becoming short. What happened? Yeah, I mean they already were going down, and we saw them, how you breed them, and they were going. Now I begin to see as if you're messing around with those, those are ancestral gifts.
When you are eating, they eat also, so you fold them so that they don't get in your plate of food. Yeah.
They don't get into your place of food. That's right, my king. I mean, I want to celebrate and welcome you here. And I've been telling Pan-African Daily TV followers, please just make sure you stay in touch anytime you see us bounce live, because we're not just going to be announcing things, but you have been around the continent, King Maponga. I follow you all across all your life, whether it's in the village, whether it's on the mountains, whether it's in the wood, whether it's educating men or women or children or whatever ceremony. We also saw you recently actually in the transition of an ancestor who passed out there, a king or a leader. I mean, what have you been doing all this time, my king? Just busy. Tell us. We want to catch out. We want to catch up with you before we get into the Kenyan elections.
There's lots happening. There's lots happening around. We are building bridges with religious organizations, and the education program is fast tracking to be talking to some of the African indigenous churches and beginning to recalibrate their campuses towards a socially conscious gospel. And I think many of them, for the longest of time, have gone on a trajectory of just doing church for the sake of church. But with this new generation, just to do their education, job creation, utilization of government available projects, and seeing how best we can actually assist the government in participating in their national development plans, which I think gives us a precedence to our conversation on the Kenyan and in particular, and the African political terrain in general, where many of our young people, many of our adults are just excited when they hear and they talk about political changes. It's a reason to celebrate that we have a new leader. But the real question is not whether we have a new leader or not. The real question is, do we have a new system? Do we have new people in an old car? Do we have young people driving the same old bus? Are we celebrating a new driver whom we are going to put on the same old crooked colonial jurisdiction, health restrictions, medicine restrictions, fashion imports, entertainment imports, medicine restrictions? You're looking at the entire government infrastructure and the instruments of power. Are we celebrating that we have a new leader, or we actually must not change leaders? Instead, we must be changing the system, because the problem has never been leadership. The problem has been the systems in which we put our leaders in. So no matter how beautiful and brilliant your leader is, if you are going to inaugurate him, swear him in a constitution that is Roman Dutch, call him a president, sit him in an office to run a parliament that is Eurocentric, to run the instruments of power from legislation to immigration, honestly speaking, it's a sad day for me, in the greater sense that our excitement for changing horses with hyenas is not, for me, the best way of transforming our political conversation as Africans. I thank you.
Very, very correct. I don't even think that we can even expand further, because you can change the driver, and when the engine is bad, it's going to be a bad car, no matter how good the driver is. You're saying something very, very pertinent about the system. And you talked about the church, reforming the church like Luther did outside here. And we know one of your greatest topics had always been like, why don't we transform the church into industries that will create jobs?
Yes, not only transforming them into industry. I also believe that the church produces good leaders, for saying the least. But unfortunately, often the church does not support the very same members when they move into political spaces. The hypocrisy we find is we want to enjoy and participate in the political freedom that is brought to us by the politicians, but yet we don't want to participate in transforming and changing the system so that it works for us. As far as I'm concerned, the church must not just be a place of worship, but because why are people worshiping? Why are people coming to church? They are coming to church because they're in poor health, they need education, they need breakthroughs in terms of jobs, in terms of opportunities, they need help in various aspects of life. The question is, does the church only pray for people and send them back home? Or the church must actually become an active instrument of transforming the community? If you read Malachi chapter 3, verse 10, and verse 11, it will say, bring ye the tithes and offerings into my storehouse. But I like the last part, so that they can be food in my house. So if your church, and you have a church, and your church does not have food, then you are not meeting the basic obligation of the formation of the church. And the question is not just having food. Is the church involved in creating food for its members? So it's not only about tithe collection, because people don't eat money, people eat food. So we cannot say, the Bible doesn't say, bring ye tithe and offerings so that there can be money in my house. No, the issue is not money. The issue is so that there can be food in my house. So even the money in which is collected, the question is, how do we translate that money into food? And the best way for me, it is to transform a church into a food factory. a food manufacturing factory, if there is a widow in the community, if there is a hungry person in the community and they have not eaten, the place they should run to before they sleep must be a church.
Yes.
Unfortunately, we close and we lock our churches at night for other reasons that I don't know. But the devil does not sleep. Poverty and hunger does not rest. And our churches must be sources of refuge and fulfillment and satisfaction and food supply for those that are in need. I thank you.
Thank you very much, my king. I can remember the first time when you started, this journey, on the church actually was like looking at you as somebody that, is going against the dogmas of the church, like you are against now. And now we could see all these critics like, oh, now you've just became a pagan when you used to be a preacher and you used to be a bishop. Now you are, and all these controversies. But I see the huge following, and that even the pastors, as we call them, they are following. I know a lot that have called on the show a couple of times to get in contact with you so that you can educate them on this new path that you brought. Now, do you have the same impression? Like, of course, I started, it was my call, it was my mission, and now I think that kind of critic that you used to have, people are getting to begin to understand this is the right way.
And I think, in all honesty, there are two, if not three, ways in which we can look at what I might call a pastoral calling. I don't want to talk much about myself. I want us to talk about Kenya today. But since you have asked, I'll indulge you and respond a little bit to the calling. When you are called into the ministry, if it is a divine, supernatural whisper to your ear that you are being called into the ministerial section, there are two things that happen to you. Either you become a minister of the church, and by becoming a minister of the church, it means that you confine yourself to the dogma, to the theology, to the practices of your particular church that has called you, whether it be Pentecostal or it be Anglican, Presbyterian, Lutheran, Adventist, Catholic. The list goes on and on. I can't mention all 37,000 churches in one breath. So you either become a denominational minister whose basic need and function it is to service the audience and the congregation to which they are called to. But the other side of that, if you are called as a minister of the gospel, meaning the career of good news, and if God has truly called you into ministry, then you are not limited to the boundaries of the denomination. You are not limited to the confines of your culture. You are not limited to only the tribal zones of your tribal families. You are called as a minister of the nations. So if there are people who are in Cameroon, if there are people that are in Namibia, if there are people that are in Swaziland, if there are people that are in Mozambique, in Angola, wherever you are, and there is poverty and there are social problems, as a minister of the gospel, your function must be international, though your calling is personal. I thank you.
Thank you so very much. We're going to go back to the issue on Kenya elections, as our broadcast is actually focused on that, but everything is interconnected together, my king. There's just no way you can talk about politics. You don't talk about economy. You don't talk about culture. Everything is just like a mingle. Sometimes we say, no, I'm not a politician. I don't want to get involved in politician. Oh, no, why is King Maponga now becoming, talking to leaders when he's not supposed to? He should be either in the church or be with the leaders and this and all this. But is it possible to separate these things? Economic, culture, history, religion, whatever we want to talk about. Everything leads to the economic empowerment and freedom of the African. But you cannot separate this. Am I correct?
You're raising a very, very important angle right there. This is the symbiosis, the interconnectedness of things. When you talk to me, some people who have weaker minds, they look at you and say, don't take it personal. Don't make it personal. And then I look at them and say, when you are talking to me, I'm not schizophrenic. I'm not two people in one. When you are talking to me, you're talking to me, physically. You are talking to me mentally. You are talking to me emotionally. You are talking to me psychologically. you're talking to me in an African setting. All those layers of me are present. And it is difficult, therefore, to say the information I'm giving you is only for your head. Your heart must not respond. You know, it's almost like someone says, "I love you," and only your heart must respond. You know, don't think about it. Just it's impossible. We don't work like that. We don't work like that. Everything is connected from the top of your head to the sole of your feet. So a human being is not just a mental human being. We are mental human beings. We're emotional human beings. We're psychological human beings. We are physical human beings. We're emotional human beings. We're political human beings. We're cultural human beings, and so forth and so forth. And above all, we're even natural human beings, because when it is hot, our bodies respond. When it is cold, our bodies respond. So we are even in tune with nature to a certain extent. So for you to begin to separate and say, let's only, Maponga, just talk religion, no, just talk Jesus only, and say nothing more. And I think this is madness of the highest order, because there's no way you can separate even the Jesus that they preach about. He comes around and says, I've come to set the captives free. You know, let the poor say I am rich, let the weak say I am strong. Spoke to the tax collectors, who are the revenue collectors. Spoke to the teachers of the law, those are the lawyers. Spoke to the people in the priests, those are the religious organizations. Spoke to the poor, those are the communities. He visited weddings. He visited brothels and prostitutes and stuff like that. And if you have a problem with Maponga J, honestly speaking, I think you have a problem with Jesus.
This is hard. This is hard. But of course, that is it. Now, when we look at Kenyans today, I mean, we've been seeing some comments where Kenyans are saying, oh, the dynasty has fallen. Now the hustlers are speaking. I mean, you put this Jesus role. You see, every politician that comes and promise the young people, or say, I'm going to take the bottom top. You see, Africans actually always believe, just like they gave you Jesus, and we always believe in them. We trust the leadership. We're doing everything. And then suddenly, you're sitting on an engine that, on a constitution that you, as Mr. President, dare not even touch anything without the parliament. So when you look at the elections today in Kenya, you see Kenyans jubilating like, now we have a new Jesus, or we have a new leader. He's going to answer our problems. He talked for us. He spoke for the hustlers. And I mean, what would be so disappointing when things begin to fall apart or don't go the way they actually promised?
Firstly, the whole language is not correct to say the dynasty has fallen, because Uhuru Kenyatta and his father have not been inaugurated as kings. They are presidents. So it's a dynasty in the sense of a political legacy. But again, it goes on to length to say who are the indigenous royal houses of Kenya, who rightfully deserve that title, to which it must belong. And as such, it is a misappropriation of a dynasty, and the falling of the Kenyan political house cannot be equated to a dynasty. Number two, it is of their own making that for the past 30 years or 40 years or 50 years, if not 60 years, you sit on a system and you market the system and you maintain the system and you don't transform it. You don't transform it. And then one morning, that same system spits you through the window. And then you want to cry, foul, foul. This did not happen well. What did you expect? What did you expect? You're running a democratic system, quote unquote, democratic system. You're running a colonial system that basically wants to see the ins and going in of African presidents. And the shorter their stay, the better, because then the progress which you can account for is also less. And as I've always said, and I hope these words will reach our Honorable Ruto before it is too late. Don't be excited about politics, Honorable Ruto. It is a very short-lived honeymoon. Very short-lived honeymoon. It won't even last as long as you think it will last. Think carefully. How do you restore Kenyan dignity to its rightful place by transforming the legal systems to indigenous governance systems. I'll recommend a name for him. I have a friend of mine at the Nazarene University in Kenya who happens to be one of his nationals, Honorable Ojwang. He is the head of the indigenous legal systems in Kenya. He has done a fantastic, marvelous work and written papers and papers on African indigenous governance systems. I would suggest, right in the 100 days of his office, one of his first pillars that he must transform the principle of using Kenyan indigenous governance system. Himself, Ruto, he must not be sworn into office with a Bible or a Quran. Rule number one, he must be sworn into government with the Kenyan indigenous swearing plan. That says, if I steal from you, the ancestors must kill my mother, must destroy my family. There is a swearing people, and many of these Kenyan leaders don't want to swear into office using their indigenous swearing oath, because that oath combines you, your family, your children, your goats, and everything. I want to see if Ruto is a man. If he would want to gain my respect, he must not use a Bible to walk into an office, but he must use the indigenous Kenyan oath of office. I will come and shake his hand.
Ooh, this is hard, but that is essential. I think one time we had talked about this, our own swearing, or I don't know how they put it. And it's true. Even in the village, if you would steal even a fowl or a goat, and they say we're going to the palace to swear on the stone, you can be sure. So what kind of systems are this that you swear and do the wrong thing and do the opposite and nothing happens?
the Muslim, the Quran and the Bible, immediately when you finish swearing on it, you can go and steal and do anything else and nothing will happen to you. But I bet you, if you go on the traditional oath, and you don't own up to your word, and I think for me, this becomes a very exciting conversation, because then it begins to introduce to us the practicality of what me and you have been making noise for the longest of time. It was sounding like we're just waffling, and other people are actually typing and saying, hey, Maponga J and your friends, you like dreaming, these things will never, but look at it now coming to pass. And the challenges which we used to speak about in the past, now we hear Africa Union is also talking, United Nations is making noise on the other side, other African presidents. I even heard Museveni the other day speaking our own language, and I'm saying, well, it looks like the message is getting there, so don't give up. It's making sense. And I want someone to cut this piece and send it to President Ruto. Send it to him by tonight before he swears into office. Tell him, respect your culture. Stop acting like a white man. If you really want us to respect you, take a traditional Kenyan oath of office.
This is just it. I mean, when I'm laughing, it's just because that's when you know the power of truth, isn't it? That's when we talk about spirituality, when we talk about you say something and it's gonna happen the same. The words of the ancestors, the power, I don't know, how do I want to say, the science of African spirituality. Just there, swear on it, and then do the opposite. Swear on it.
Swear on your mother. Swear on your mother. Swear on your sister. Swear on your grandfather's grave. Swear on your life. And let me see if you are committed to the mission and the promises that you are making while you are campaigning. I'm going to. Now we say, take an oath. Take an oath that you are going to deliver. And that oath says, if I don't deliver, take note, if I don't deliver, and if I am lying, this and this and this and this must happen to me. And we will do that to you. If you commit that, that's what you want us to do to you. And for me, as you have said, that is truth. We want truthful leaders. And as such, we want to swear them in truthfully.
So, yes, I mean, I'm loving and I'm enjoying this because exactly that's the point where we're going to when we talk about the essence of our culture and its ethics. And we've just suddenly really just banned them out of our lives, turn our backs on them, rubbish them, laugh at them, mock them, bewitch them by ourselves, disrespect for them. We can just do anything that we want to do and think that try the African indigenous system. Just try it for once. And we're talking about discipline. Just try for once. We knew even in the village I grew up as a girl, seeing a woman that just stole cocoa yams from another woman's, and he went to the palace and she only had to grind pepper and put into that food, and everything was out. You understand? Just simple things. Is the words of mouth. We did not see no rocket science, King Maponga. I mean, like you said, when we started this whole preaching and this gospel, everybody was just like, these are jobless people. Dr. Susan is there in the diaspora. What's she doing? Maponga is just there, these crazy people. But I can bet on you, like you're saying, I see people use our vocabulary in their politics, in their homes, in their organizations, everything that we had sat here and speaking. And I just like, exactly, we are really on point. We are touching where it's supposed. So we can sit and people can say we're just talking and doing anything. To be honest, I can't wait to finish this project in Germany and just be back on our conversations, meet you on the continent, and we go on this journey because it is bringing the kind of result that is unexpected in any change that I've ever seen. I've never seen us or the Africans rising up, speaking with one voice, and it's going like wildfire. So when we come back to Kenya,
we're not wasting
yes,
time.
go ahead.
We're not wasting
Yes.
time, and as such, we're not even here for some of us to receive any glory or any accolades or any praise of any nature. Our contribution is a spiritual contribution. Our contribution is towards the transformation of a continent, the thinking of the continent, and changing the trajectory, the narrative of the African children. And as such, when we begin to hear young people starting up organizations, beginning to get involved, politicians beginning to talk. I mean, look at Zimbabwe the other day, starting to use the Zimbabwe golden coin as the means of transaction right here in Zimbabwe, that we are slowly kicking away the American paper money and we are going back to gold. And I look back 2 years ago, 3 years ago, when I was shouting and saying these things, and it sounded like I was losing my head. And the country is right there. Another 2 years later, on point. And yesterday, I heard South Africa has also started their own Kruger and coin. They've resurrected it. It used to be there in the 1800s, and they had stopped it, but now they've just resuscitated it. And Russia is in the same space, and Philippines is in the same space, Singapore, Philippines. And so other countries are beginning to come on board. So when you are a leader in our space, in our spiritual space, and I'm saying this to you with a great amount of understanding, that sometimes it's not important for people to understand you. It's not always about having supporters that everything you say, people must go, hey, no, we hear you say, no, I appreciate you, good word, good word. It's not there. We are not on the good word, feel good, get a few likes and ticks on our profiles. It's about being honest to the messages that we are hearing, our consciences whispering to us, and our ancestors and spiritual realm giving us information. And we pass on that information with the passion that it needs, the sincerity that it needs, with the voice that it needs, and accuracy that it needs as to what the information will do. I mean, yesterday, I was having a meal at one of the restaurants here, and I met a whole family, about 3-4 kids with their mother living in America. And they all ran to me and gave me a big hug. I'll even share their pictures with you. Gave me a big hug at the shop there. And so happy, started crying. No, we were listening to your videos during COVID about Africans must return home, must come back home. We just want to tell you, keep on going. We are here. We have returned. We are back to our land. We are plowing. And I mean, word for word. And I just looked there, my heart melted, and I said, I don't need another letter of approval from anybody, even if this is the only person that has been able to help, that's enough for me. That's enough for me. And I think that's what keeps us alive, and that's what keeps us going. So even on these political things, these things that we are talking about, people don't need to approve. I'm not seeking for anybody's approval. I'm beyond seeking anybody's approval. I'm not seeking for anyone's accolades, but I'm just here to share. And some of these things we'll share them 3 years ahead, 4 years ahead, 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead. There's some stuff that we have said here that will manifest 400 years from now.
Yes.
But we have started talking about it and putting the blueprint on paper so that when our children and grandchildren will follow after us, they will find those footprints clearly marked into the jungles of their own fears. And they should follow without fear, knowing that we, as their ancestors and forefathers, have already walked this path and have seen the land from whence we want them to come to. I thank you.
Thank you so very much, my king. I mean, there's no way again to break it. Exactly. That's who we are. That's why we do our job the way we do it. And that's why most of the time we don't even have the energy to tell people donate to us, contribute to this. We are done with that. You want to do it from your heart. If you know that we need to move, we move. We don't even have time to sit and even draw a plan to give you how to donate, because there's just no time for that. We just move. If you feel the work and you know that we're doing the work, you just join in. Where can you join in? How can you support? It must not only be financial, like this kids, like this family that run into your arms. I ran into a brother from Jamaica. I posted it on my Facebook page the other day in Stuttgart, and this brother was just like melting. He's been in Germany for 40 years and he's been following you. He follows me. He follows Professor James Moore. He follows all of us. And when she saw me, she could not believe. She went down on her knees. She carried me and she was like, I cannot believe that I can ever see you physically. You're a spirit. You're not a human being. How can it happen that I see you, Dr. Susan? It's not you. And he was touching my body, touching myself all the time. That is it. That's just all. Can any money buy that, my king?
Oh no, and I think to actually emphasize on what you're saying, this is the level where we are calling other young people out there who are seeking for a spiritual path, that it does not have to be popular. Serve humanity with honesty and dignity, and you will get a good reward and the satisfaction of life. And take note that the way it is also done, it is that the universe and our ancestors and the powers that are out there in the cosmos, they place you at a time in an environment with support structures, with the knowledge that you need to do exactly what you must do. You don't need to migrate to anywhere else to become what you are. You are already packaged with everything that needs to be available to assist you to achieve the objectives from which you have been called to do. And as such, that is purpose for me, because I've always said in passing that you need to find the reason why you returned. You need to find the purpose for which you have come into this world. And when you find that purpose, everything else becomes automatic, becomes natural. You live in your purpose. You don't need a bodyguard to protect you. You don't need a policeman on your side. You just live your life to the honesty of who you are. If anyone hates you, they hate themselves.
Sure. It's just as simple as that. But I want to talk about the fulfillment, because we've been saying this. I know we repeat this everything now. We're just even only repeating everything that we've been saying for the past 2 years. The fulfillment in laying down this process, in fulfilling this journey. I mean, you can fulfill a journey like a walker or whatever, or leader or whatever, but this one that you lay down, intentional purpose of just giving free, to your people to bring change, to empower somebody, to put a smile on somebody, to just make somebody have the life that they want. I mean, it's undescribable. I don't know whether you have that same, I mean, we have the same passion, the same goal, the same vision, the same everything. But how do you really, because sometimes I sit and like, I just jump and shout just because I'm so happy. I'm just so fulfilled that like I want the whole Africa to just be mine. Do you have that same feeling? Do you really sit like, because some people look at us like, are you not tired? You're doing this thing for all. But every time, the worst time is when I'm not on the Pan African or doing these things. That's my most miserable time. Do you have that feeling, my king?
The secret of wisdom is not in books. The secret of wisdom is in the truth of the seed. When you hold a seed in your hand, you know if it is planted, it will be a tree. You can call a party in 3 years or in 4 years and say, come around, let's sit around this tree. We will be eating mangoes. Because you have planted the seed well, you have watered it, you've cultivated it, and you have done everything that you can. The truth is not in you. The truth is in the seed itself and the truth that it holds when it is given the right environment. As such, these words I share with you, my beloved African children, these are seeds of truth. If families, if communities, if governments, if the continent will take these words that I give you and you implement them, you put them into the ground and you water them, I guarantee you 10 years from now, 50 years from now, 100 years from now, you will sit under this big tree and enjoy the fruits. For example, simple thing, Africans stop digging more gold, full stop. Oh, then what must we do? Whenever the Europeans, the Chinese, and the Americans are coming to buy our things in Africa, just tell them they must pay them in gold. So when they are taking our raw materials out and they're taking our cocoa and say, no, we don't want paper money, bring the gold back. Bring the gold back. In less than 3 years to 4 years, if not 5 years, Africa will have more gold. Because if you look at the 760 billion that we are sending to Europe, to Asia, and to America per year, if that can return back to the continent as gold, we are the only continent that is allowed to print money because we can guarantee it with our gold. So take this simple idea. Stop collecting paper money in Bahamas, in Virgin Islands, in Mauritius, and in Zurich. Every time your country is exporting things outside, it's all right, but we want our payment back in gold. Kenya will have the reserves of gold. Zimbabwe will have the reserves of gold. Congo will have the reserves of gold. And from the reserves of gold, we can stabilize our currencies. We can do business. This is who we are. This is the Mansa Musa process. This is the Monomotapa program where we started doing gold way before they came. And when we elect these new presidents into power, I just hope we are not photocopying fools into office who think that putting on a tie and a jacket and standing next to a flag will change the status of a nation. People don't change because they're standing next to a flag. People change because you have implemented strategic decisions in your policies that will transform the wealth base of the people and allow the dignity of the people to be restored back to them. So for me, it's not about the aha moment. For me, it's actually having lived 50 years from now. It's the joy of having been transported to 400 years from now centuries after I am dead, I've been there and I've seen the glory of the African people when they implement practical strategies of transforming their own environment, their economy, their politics, their culture, their religion, so that it becomes authentic and truthful and profitable to their own selves. I thank you.
Wonderful, wonderful. I mean, if you look the global, I mean, you said it already. You don't even know why it came up to this dynasty, because these are the two key words that we notice in the Kenyan elections. It's either the hustler for Dr. William RUTO, who is officially the president of Kenya, and then you have the dynasty that was actually referred to Kenyatta, and then the Raila Odinga. And so these two keywords actually just define a society that is based on the first class and then the minority, or the poor and the rich. Let's just put it that way. And it was so crazy when we kept asking Kenyans, why do you put these two words? This is the hustler and this is this. But you are coming to say, you Kenyans, watch out. Tonight, if we're going to swear in our president and he's not using the African indigenous system to be sworn in, then we have a problem. And this problem is going to be so short-lived, as you said. It's not just become being a president, but how you do. We've seen president come tall, grow, make things, and become even the Napoleons, but they've gone down at any point in time. So, but the indigenous system lasts forever. They are there.
Listen to the contrast of the dynasty and the hustler. In between the two, you're actually having two illegitimate structures. There's an illegitimate dynasty on the left, and there's a hustler who is a thug on the right. And these two people were saying, choose between the two thieves, choose between the two criminals. Who is a better criminal? Is the criminal, is it the criminal from the people or the criminal from the dynasty? Who do we give allegiance to? And on both sides, I've always said it, and I'll say it again until my people hear it. You cannot appoint a fox or a hyena as a shepherd of the sheep and always wonder, why are the sheep disappearing?
Please say that again. Please just say that again, because just say that again, and it just explain in a short term why it would not even work.
It's simple. Hyenas and foxes and dogs, they eat meat. They eat meat. And when you appoint any one of them as the shepherd of the sheep, for sure, every lunch hour, every supper, every breakfast, you'll find another sheep for breakfast, another sheep for lunch, another sheep for supper. So this fox I'm talking about, I'm not talking about a fox as a human being. I'm not talking about a fox as an individual. I'm talking about a fox as the system itself, a cunning European system. Whether we take it as governance, for example, which comes in with its own marital rules. How do you marry in a white culture? How do you distribute an estate in that governance system? How do you do business? And that is all a white culture. That is all white. So even our governance system is a white culture. As much as I was lambasting religion and white weddings and white marriages, that they're as good as white culture. We come on to the economic side, it's white business. We come on to governance systems, it's white governance systems. So you come to education, it's white education. You come to entertainment, it's white entertainment. At the end of the day, this is a war of the dominant culture on the subcultures. And how do you dominate people without necessarily making them servants of your God, servants of your economy, servants of your governance, servants of your propaganda, servants of your education, so that you can manage them? So at the end of the day, it does not matter who you put as a leader on an African political terrain until they have a deliberate intention to transform their communities. I would want to say Eureka to Magufuli, as we once did, another Eureka and aha to the president of Rwanda, Kagame. Say what you want, dictator, this and this. But as long as you are dictating the right thing and you are restoring your people, hallelujah. I just wish that the success of Rwanda can be translated to his relationship with Uganda meaningfully and his relationship with Congo meaningfully. List the good business environment of Rwanda is actually the fueling reason why Congo is still in trouble, because people are smuggling and taking goods out of Congo and using Uganda, Angola, and Rwanda as routes of moving those goods out. So the independence of and the progress and success of one country cannot be the success of one country. Let's adopt this principle that says an injury to one is an injury to all. An injury to Congo is an injury to Rwanda. An injury of Somalia is an injury to Ethiopia. And the injury of Sudan is an injury to Nigeria. And an injury of Nigeria is an injury of South Africa. And as soon as we begin to think in that direction, we will discover that South Africa can never be free as long as Zimbabwe is struggling. Botswana can never be free as long as Angola is struggling. Because what do you do now? You're dealing with issues of immigration, illegal immigrants, quote unquote. You know, people are running away from their countries to your countries, and you are willing to spend 27 billion to build fences and walls and etc. to protect people from coming. Can't you just use that money to help the other country to develop their economy and retain those people in their own countries? So we begin to have intergovernmental conversations. Unfortunately, our African leaders, once they get in power, it's all about competition. Am I better than this one? Am I better than this one? We cannot work with competition. We would work well complementing each other as Africans. And here we are on a continent. We share the same ground. We share the same resources. And until we begin to think in a collective way, we begin to think in a unilateral way, breaking and killing the Francophones, Anglo-Saxophones, the Luxembourgs. These, we are French, we are British, we are Germans, we are Italians, we are Spanoras and Spanish. In Africa, these are the things that further on divide us. But to find a common ground will be our final solution towards the United Kingdoms of Africa, where we can live together in harmony, looking after each other's interests. I thank you.
Thank you so very much. The last question would be on the diaspora, because this is also one point that we talked about. When a leader said, or a leader who is Pan-African says, you know, I'm more concerned about my people, my 20 million people, and so I'm the best president or the role model, and you don't look out of the box to say, I mean, if exactly like you say, if my neighbors are not comfortable, even if I am, then I am in trouble. As a matter of fact, sometimes you say, oh, I need to put out the fire from my own house before I go to my neighbor. But if that fire even will continue from your neighbor, it's still going to come across to your house. So if you look at the structures on the continent, I mean, we've seen in the past also that, you know, countries now are talking about, you know, re-engaging, reintegrating the diaspora, opening up the SID region to partake even in voting. Why not? Even in voting when elections are taking place in countries where they have actually identified, this is where we came from. This is, I did my DNA. A lot of them are saying it. So at some point in time, when do you think this Africa will be ripe to say that we integrate our diasporans, and even the diasporans have a decision making on the political situation on the continent?
Fully understanding that many of my diaspora friends are already religiously biased, I would want to give them an illustration which they will understand, which is a Joseph illustration. that Joseph was sold into slavery in a foreign land. But when he got there, he became the refuge for his own motherland. He gathered the software from a spiritual realm on how to create food security for his own land. And a few years later, actually the diaspora, by that diaspora, I mean the Joseph, became the solution to the homeland. Those that are in diaspora indeed are a great solution. In what way? In the way that Africa is only, say, 1.8 billion people on the continent, and the Africans in diaspora could roughly be about 300 million, to be on a conservative side. I'm looking basically at America and Britain and Canada put together. And I think Africa has enough space for another 400 million people to stay and to live and to create a grand big nation together as the African people. And having said that, I wish to say one prophecy, and I'm saying that again selectively so, that the floods that we are seeing in the Middle East, the floods that we are seeing in the Middle East, that is in the deserts, where it has never happened for the past couple of hundreds of years that have gone past. With those floods continuing the way they are, I foresee the Great Sahara Desert becoming watered again. And once the Sahara Desert is watered by the global warming and climate changes, we will see the Great Sahara Desert becoming a flourishing forest again. There is enough land within the Sahara and the Kalahari deserts that can actually accommodate as many as we are. Over and above that, with the technologies that we have, we can begin to work to see how we restore those deserts to becoming habitable. This is where technology and science must come on board to create a homestead. If Dubai, a desert, is a capital city where thousands and millions of people are spending their money, we surely have a desert bigger than Dubai, which is waiting for the diaspora. When you look at that sand, don't look at hopelessness. Don't look at a quarantine area. Don't look at an inhabitable area. Look at that problem and look at a massive opportunity with countless millions of acres of land waiting for the African children in diaspora to come and claim that desert and convert it into our small little Dubais, small little capital cities. And if Mansa Musa lived in that desert of Mali to become the world's richest man in those sands and in those deserts hundreds of years ago, what makes you think that in this generation we cannot transform that desert into the bread basket of the entire world and beyond? A few words. We have the sunshine in the Sahara. We have water in the Sahara. The only thing missing are the diaspora with their technology. How do we transform the great Sahara Desert into our Dubai? I thank you.
I love the prophecy that you told. I mean, the comparison, I never had looked at it. This one from Joseph being sold into slavery. I mean, it's really a story, and who become a governor and even become the solution. We never had seen the Bible that when they talk about it, they're going to make us understand it was somebody else. That is that Joseph, and we begin to see some white Gandalf and stuff like that. You see, but what you're saying is very, very pertinent. And you see, even in Europe, they really have cut out this area. And so when they even want to talk about us, the Black Africans, they always talk about the sub-Sahara Africa. Now, when they talk about developmental politics or whatever, they're always going to talk about the south of Sahara. It means they already had cut out the desert because they know nothing good can come from the mountain or the Zion or whatever. But there's This is so, so smart. The way you put it, King. I never had thought about it. But of course, I saw Dubai and I like, if Dubai could be transformed into water, into the space where Africans are even going to ride camels when there had been camels existing for centuries. And we go to Dubai and we wear their scarf now. After being done with the West and their Gucci's, now the latest thing now to go and ride camels and put out this and snap is the Dubai. Oh my goodness. Like, where do we even start again? Where?
No, it's beautiful. We have the Kalahari Desert, we have the Namibian Desert, we also have the
Yeah.
Sahara Desert. And I mean, without even doing any complicated mathematics, just imagine the amount of solar power, solar energy, hydraulic energy. There's technologies right now where you can convert the very air into water and electricity, and the rest is history. So the issue is not Africans not being able. I think this one, I want to throw it into the hands of our diasporans and say, you as the people in diaspora who now have the technology, who now have the science, who now have the knowledge of how to transform some of these sciences into practical solutions for the African children. If the Sahara Desert is too daring for you, man, we still have vast sums of land in the Congo that needs agriculture. Sudan, vast lands that need agriculture. Zimbabwe, vast lands. South Africa, vast lands that need development. The question is not whether our resources are only under the ground. They are also on top of the ground. They are also above the ground. And above all, the greatest resource you have are the people walking on the ground. And if these four elements can be put together, what is underneath our feet, what is on top of our ground, what is above our ground, and what walks on the ground, becoming the human capacity, I think that there is a huge opportunity for Africa to transform itself, not only in terms of a technological Africa, but even in terms of an indigenous, cultural African development, which we don't need to do at the pace of being compelled and pushed by the Western world. We can drive these initiatives at our own pace, and claim these pieces of land and develop them at our own pace. So we don't have to worry about what Singapore and China and Japan have done and America have done. They have done their thing. It's done. We can do our thing the way we want to do it and create the communities the way we want. And as you always say, and creating the Africa that we want, the Africa that we, not what they want, the Africa that we, the citizens of the continent, want. And I think that lies on everyone within the reach of my voice this evening. I never saw it coming. That's inspiration again, that I'll end up in the desert from Kenya. But congratulations, Honorable Ruto, on your 5th appointment election as the president of Kenya. Congratulations and a warm welcome. I see your complexion there. You have enough melanin, like a genuine child of the soil. 2 things for you: make the Kenyans proud, restore the dignity of the Kenyan people. And please, when you are taking your oath of office, using your cultural oath, please call me also. I want to come and witness it. That is the only time I know that you mean truth, and you mean truth for your own people. May the gods of the land and the spirit of this great continent rest upon you. We hope that you can learn from Magufuli and implement some of the decisions of making Kenya. And congratulations. Don't destroy what Uhuru has already done in terms of creating a big state there, which combines Uganda, Tanzania, Rwanda, and those 5 countries up there. We are following that space with great interest. I hope and I pray you will not suffer the disease of Africans of always destroying what the previous leader has put in place. Please build on the foundations that are there, but more so restore the dignity, the respect of your own African people. And may the good Lord bless and keep you richly. I say, I say, I say, I
Ashe,
say.
Ashe. Bayete, 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 my king. Yes, so we are rounding up, and as we were breaking today on Kenyans Decide 2022, you could already see we started it the other day, anticipating what Kenyans actually are looking forward to this great day. And just today, it was officially, or it is officially announced that the winner is Dr. William RUTO, who is popularly known as the voice of the hustler. And King Maponga has said it. I don't want to go into it again. Has poured all his blessings, and I'm also looking forward to the day that you're being sworn in. That Pan African Daily TV, Maponga J, and some other voices that you all know would be invited to be a witness to this new Kenya that all of us want, and the new Africa that we all want to see. So it's a wonderful pleasure, and we once more congratulate our Kenyan brothers and sisters. And we said it doesn't matter who win, peace must reign. King Maponga, this is also one good thing that I like you to stress on before you go. Otherwise, like today would have been seen, or a rioting on the street, people burning, or the opposition or the others saying, oh, there has been rigged election or this and that. But for this one, you see the peace, the tranquility. I mean, Kenya has matured. Do you see Zimbabwe in the next election? What is it that you anticipate? I mean, are you standing also a candidate? I mean, let's just begin to get these things clear.
Uh, Initially, the temptation to do that was great, but the instruments of doing that and the political wheels and the economic structures that are needed to drive that machinery, well, was not going to be an easy thing. And being a true African brother, if a brother is already doing something that you were going to do also, I'm the kind of
Ashe.
person who I don't need to do something. I don't need to start another Pan-African Daily TV simply because I want to challenge Dr. Susan Tatah, who is already doing it. So why not support the one who is already doing it? And the Zimbabwe elections will be very, very exciting on this coming election. And interesting, of course, to note that the opposition party was aligning itself with Odinga, Raila Odinga, and now Ruto has won. I'm still waiting to see how that will pen itself into our political space. But the Zimbabwe political space will be very interesting, and with lots of legalities that are now on conversation, as the opposition parties, we have 150 candidates that are standing in terms of political parties. Now, in a 12 million people, that's madness of the highest order. And America only has two parties, Britain only has two parties, and 150 political parties. Everyone wants to become a president in the country. So it'll be very interesting to note, though the other politicians might say, no, the rest of them are not meaningful opposition. But in honesty, if you say you believe in democracy, why undermine other political parties? Everyone must have an equal opportunity to campaign. So I foresee a heavily contested political terrain 2023. The only difference, which I think is quite eminent, is that others have followers, others have members. So the political support is not equivalent to political membership. And I hope and I wish that all the Zimbabwean young people can register to vote and vote for the right thing. And again, as you are voting, you want to vote for what is right and what you think is right. No biases to my own persuasion. Vote for what you think is right. But while you're voting, think through, how long has it taken America to build the system that they have? And how long will it take a new political party? Of course, let me say I start a political party right now, ZIM, as I had called it, Zimbabwe Indigenous Movement. And I start running right now. How long will it take me to build a system solid and strong, implement projects, and begin to take a country forward? I might sacrifice the future of many young people while still trying to shape the system together. So there's nothing wrong. Young people still have lots of time in their hands. But in my own old age, I would rather work with the instruments of power and assist those that are already holding the driving stick in their hands and see if they can champion this in the direction in which I want them to go to. That's my contribution in my own old age. But I wish the Zimbabweans a very, very successful, violence-free election. The Second Republic, under the leadership of Emerson Mnangagwa, is beginning to do quite a lot of things. And I actually feel bad. Had the previous leader, Honorable Robert Mugabe, in his principles that he has promoted for land and etc., had he incorporated to that infrastructure development and community and rural development, we would have been at a much more better place. The problem of ZANU-PF is the same problem of ANC in South Africa, where you are in power now for 30 years and you have not been able to transform the life of the poor South African who was living in a shack, and he's still there using a bucket for a toilet and stuff like that. And until we begin to understand and appreciate how long it takes to implement and change and transform a society, and I think we need to join our hands together. Whoever wins, to me, that's not an issue. What we do after winning, to me, that is the real issue. And again, on Ruto, I wish and I hope that he will appoint Odinga as his vice president for a very strategic reason. That the ideas that Odinga had, they don't want to be left outside, because the winning margin was very thin. The winning margin was very thin. So if it was 51 to 49 or 50 whatever to 40 something, you literally, the country is split in half. And you don't take the other man and his half and you throw him in a dustbin. What that does is that you're going to create civil wars, because you almost have so many millions, and if you cut them into half, you're going to be dealing with that amount of half as a resistance. So I think strategically, if I was the advisor to the president, I'll take the Obama route with the Biden route, where the one campaigning with Bill Clinton, you bring them as your vice president. Obama with Clinton or Hillary Clinton, you take your opposition and you make them your secretary or your vice president, so that you can have the best of both worlds within one room to champion the direction of the Kenyan people. Ruto will not do it alone. He will need the support of the people who are in full support of Odinga and who are also in full support of the political party. So we're already beginning to talk in terms of unity. Let's talk unity as African people. It's not about who has won, who has lost. No one has won, no one has lost. Democracy has won. If democracy has won, let's use the instruments to unite the Kenyan people under one government. You are the president, Honorable Ruto. Avoid the whole thing. Take him as your vice president. Take other political leaders and ministers from his opposition party. Create a coalition government, even if you have won. Show the losers mercy, and you'll have a long life to live in your presidential office. I thank you.
Wow, this is wisdom from another planet. I mean, from the universe. We just know now, from the watcher, 400 years ahead, of time. We're talking about 400 years behind now, but this one is 400 years into the future, and we can see that. Thank you so very much. We had been crying and advocating for, no matter who wins, remember, one Africa for Africans worldwide, the Africa we want. That's our motto. It doesn't matter who wins now, who doesn't win. We don't even know about those things in our indigenous culture, who is winning, who is not. We only know of a community that everyone comes together, bringing what they can offer in terms of talent. All these kind of things, like who wins, who loses. I mean, my king, I might be wrong, but did we have it in ancient Africa? We know about a community. We know about people that come together. We know about, who is playing which role. And even the leader was the one that has too much responsibility, isn't it? Too much. Heavy is the crown that wears it. So sometimes when we are accepting and we are happy, we have to know that leadership is one of the strongest responsibility. Dr. Ruto William, you don't have that life again. That luxury is over. Even to just hide and have some side chicks and drink beer is over. Now you're going to be in the armor cars and this and that. So you don't even really have that kind of life that you were. So leadership, presidentship, I can imagine you, King Maponga, you being a president now. And would you even talk to me again? Would we even see you again on Pan-African Daily? You see, so that's some of the things that we say no. Some kind of leadership, leave it for people that are those kind of people. But we, the people, we just love our space, connect together, mingle with our people, eat in the public, do some of those things, go and dance in church, go to nightclub, and that is us. We're not that kind of King Maponga. Really, you're president of Zimbabwe today, and you come here on the Pan African Daily to talk to Dr. Susan and these people. Come on, give me a break.
I'll still come. I'll still come. I don't have to wait to become a president to come here. I have come. Even now, I'm with. And by the way, I think in the end of the week, I'll do a press interview here in Zimbabwe, just to talk about the immigration rules and the review of the German embassy saga, and the unfriendliness of our colonial embassies, American visa applications, British applications, the Schengen visa applications. But I'll give you a brief, I think, by Wednesday as to how we're going to run that interview. But I would like also to respond on the beautiful show that we had planned for Germany. And I think if all fails, maybe in September, we can do an official Berlin conference, stream live video, and we can still do the same program even on a virtual platform, and make a declaration that I had prepared for the dismantling of the African borders. I think it needs to be said before the close of this year, according to the timetable. We need to make an announcement.
You talked also about, I mean, before you step out, you talked about the African New Year, which is the 23rd, and that we should be planning. Is that when you think that could be? That was what I thought, maybe the official declaration going into the new year. That would be one of the strategic things we want to talk about, because even Dr. Arikana also was mentioning that virtual importance of the event in Germany, that even if the face-to-face would go on now with all its limitation, but she still thinks that we have to do a virtual congress on that and begin to put some structures into order. So I think the new year, 23rd of September, what do you think?
I think those 3 days are critical, 21, 22, 23. Let's plan around that. And we can, actually, as I had said initially on the other one, we would want every African person on the continent to pick up their drum and pick up your kudu horns and wherever you are. And we want to, around the whole globe, we want to make one big noise around the continent and beyond, and mark the celebration and the beginning of our brand new year. So I will have my drums here, and I'll have my horns here, and I will blow it across the rivers until the other people across the river can pick up the sound and blow it further also. But let's look forward. I think let's start putting posters around for the celebration of that. We can call Mkulu Singh as well to become our guest speaker on that particular day, and tell him ahead of time, then we can also secure him. Or if he's already doing something in South Africa, we can just ask for a live feed from his station, and we can beam it across all our platforms as we celebrate the beginning of the new year. I thank you.
Thank you so much. The posters are already coming up next week. That's already something. The only thing that we wanted to align with you and the others was, to get him as a guest speaker, really to talk about this transition of our new year and the importance, so that we put it in the calendar, as we said, and then to go into the movement of the 12-12 and the drumming and officially declaring this, that's every year is going to be something. And I think we had started these things just like 2 years ago, like just saying, but now it's the implementation time, and everything just works according to the wish of our ancestors, and the way what was supposed to be is being now. So I really thank you, and everything is just falling in place. So get your djembes ready, get your horns ready, get your calendar, set it at 12 p.m. As we said, the Ubuntu day, and we are going to take the Umoja of Africa right digitally. Don't worry about whether you did not participate physically. It's still going to take place from the 1st to the 4th of September. Whatever significance we're going to do it in a small format or in a kind of a format, it's very clear what King Maponga said, and that would have been also what that I have to talk about. That it is not about the number of, oh, I have 10,000 viewers, or I have 10,000 followers, or I have subscribers. That doesn't matter to us. It's just the intention. Because if you, King Maponga, if they would tell me Jesus with 12 disciples created the whole world that we're following today, he didn't need the 20 million likes or to be on Instagram with the huge follower on TikTok. We didn't see that. But it was just a few one-man ship with 12 that actually transform what we know today. So the significance is not just all this fallacy and illusion of like, oh, I'm the most followers, and it keeps us even in a big trap and a distraction. So yes, just be you. What matters is what we do now. So thank you so much, my king. One last word.
Oh, well, beautiful. It was nice being here. And we wish all Africans far and wide a beautiful, beautiful 10 of events that is upon us. Don't be the what happened group. Be the group that causes things to happen. And we are at a dispensation where foolishness and ignorance is a choice. Those who want to know information is available. And keep watch on this program as we are growing together. May the peace of the land rest upon you all. Until we meet you again, let there be peace on the continent. I thank you.
Let there be peace. Thank you so much, my king. Thank you. Yep. Bye. And greetings back on the soil. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow. So that was it. Breaking on Kenyans Decide. We officially came up, but we're going to follow up on this program again with Happy Talks in just, I think, a couple of hours now. The time set for this program is 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That should be 11 p.m. Europe. And it's not going to be on Pan-African Daily. I say it again because I saw people were already excited. It's going to be on Happy Talks with Felicia Harden and the Happy Film Movement. And so, but we will rebroadcast it. And the conversation is going to be Professor Baina and Dr. Susan Tatah on Pan-Africanism and power in unity. That's going to be the conversation. It's just going to be a continuation of what we've just been talking about here tonight. That is the program. As you can see it, the two guests as Mama Bello, the Queen of Haiti, the Queen Mother, and the Princess, and they all powerful. You see, they're Bongo's biggest afro that can ever. That is truly Professor Baina Bello. As we know her from childhood up to now, she's always been consistent. She's been permanent. She's been faithful. She's been loyal to what she is until today and until after tomorrow. So I would love all of you to join the Happy Film. It's going to be streamed on YouTube and Facebook. You just need to give in Happy Film. Happy Film. You're going to get them on Facebook. And please just connect. I would still want to ask Felicia to share us the link, my sister. Everybody who knows her, she's my twin sister. And we're going to be rocking our afros tonight. I can already guarantee you that's what we're going to be doing. I mean, it's a brand that is showing the big heads, and that's unapologetically, whether it is a kinky or what you're going to see. It is all about not just what you carry, but what is in that brain. It is a promotion and the trademark of the African that we want. So we want to thank all of you for connecting. It has been a wonderful broadcast, and we're thanking Maponga for being our guest spontaneously, and that's how we're going to be rolling this time. So make sure you click subscribe and the notification button if you want to be a part of this United Kingdom and Queendoms of Africa, the Africa that we want, for one Africa worldwide, on the continent, in its diaspora, in its respective indigenous cultures. We met a brother and a sister that call us from Pakistan, and they want to actually come up and talk about the indigenous Black Pakistanis in their own struggle, where they are. We also had a sister, a Black Chinese, you will not believe it, and she wants also to come on the show because they're saying, hey, we are also part of you. We are also being marginalized in our communities where we are. So don't just think that the continent Africa is only, but every African of indigenous that are everywhere, whether in the Turkish culture, we have the Africans, whether in German, we have the Afro-Germans, everywhere that we have in these indigenous cultures, people are coming up to say we are also here. If we unite and we build a one united front, nothing is going to be against and above us. So I want to thank all of you for joining. And please do tune in on happyfilms.com or the TV and join the conversation in a couple of hours. We're going to be talking about Pan-Africanism and the power in unity. Okay. So, yes, you're joking. Black Chinese is a regular Jamaican. Oh, yeah. Honestly speaking, I never heard something like that, but I can guarantee you, Brother Ra, that when I heard that conversation, I was like, okay, everything was all started from the way it is. Yes. So, but people are coming up. Communities are coming up to share their experience, to share their stories. Even Parmenians, we know them. Everywhere that the indigenous are, they're coming up. They're following the Pan-African Daily. They're following the conversations with Maponga. They're following everything that we're talking about. The need for us to build the world and humanity in our own contribution. So I thank you, Synovia. I thank you for being out here. Elizabeth, Mary, thank you, all of you. For being here. Uka Akata, I just see all of you. To be honest, King Sonra Shaka Shaku, it's been a while. It's been a while. And I thank all our Rastas. Thank all of you watching from Jamaica, from the islands out there in the Caribbean and in Panama, in West Papua Guinea, on the continent, and in Europe, and everywhere that you're connecting. It has been a wonderful pleasure. I want to thank you. Please join Felicia, my sister Felicia Harden. You know them from the Happy Movement. This is one incredible platform, and we want to share. You just don't want to miss what I am going to talk about, Pan-Africanism and power in unity. And you just don't even dare want to miss what the Queen Mother, Professor Baina Bello, whom all of us are just walking in her shoes, what she's going to be saying on that. That's going to be another powerful, incredible conversations. And you can imagine both of us were in Detroit, and you can imagine what we did share as we're carrying on. It is One Africa for Africans Worldwide. We want to thank you. Keep on supporting, keep on sharing, keep on following, keep on subscribing, keep on sharing the conversations. And we wish Kenyans a blessed evening. When you drink and you say Hakuna Matata is that right there. And Kenya yetu, Kenya yetu, one Africa, one Kenya people. We support you. We enjoy your victory. It is one Africa. We are celebrating, and we're still going to do a celebration party here when Dr. William RUTO would be. We're going to call some musicians, some very prominent Kenyan DJs or Kenyan, if YouTube is going to allow us, or we're just going to do a live in the show to follow up this inauguration. And I can believe this is the Africa that we all want. Okay. So I thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for being faithful. Thank you for contributing. Thank you for supporting to share. Thank you for my queens that are backing up and share the conversation. Scenario, you were here. El Haji, you were here. I didn't see Cheryl. I think she's at work. And Vena May is also sending you greetings. She's going to be on a very powerful show tomorrow to talk about the power on how to love yourself, because we've been talking love, love, love. And she said, no, we need to start teaching that love. And she has an incredible way for you to transform that love into how you want to see it, how you want others to feel it. So I want to thank all of you. Ra Cohen, thank you so very much. We're going to see ourselves very shortly tomorrow live on the Pan-African Daily. And one last thing before I go, please. I mean, the project in Germany, like we said, the Umoja wa Africa, is taking place from the 1st to the 4th. Invite all your relatives in Europe to be a part of this event. You all know the purpose of why we need to integrate, why we need to come together, why we need to celebrate, just like every other community has been celebrating after COVID. But then we are going to decide Umoja Africa is going to go back to the continent to where it belongs, and we start the journey of going back. All right. Of course, the platforms in Europe will stay for international experience, but then we are taking a leap back. Like we say, what is our purpose here? Our people need us. The continent need us. Everywhere they just need us. It doesn't matter whether we're going to go to the villages or into the community. We had been singing this song and dancing every day. Yeah. Even if we're going to be navigating around across, something just has to be going on. The movement has to go on. Okay. So thank you so very much. Make sure you are all connected and we see yourselves very, very soon on Happy Film with Felicia Harden. She's the most beautiful, incredible sister that is doing that power movement out there with the Happy Movement, supporting everything. And she's going to be the one to produce the documentary on all our works that we've been doing in Germany, on the Pan African Daily, and also on the Happy Movement. So we see ourselves. Thank you so very much. It's been a pleasure. Bye bye. See you soon.
You are watching the Pan African Daily TV with Dr. Susan Tatah. The Africa we want: unity, consciousness, our culture, our spirituality, our history. One Africa for Africans worldwide. Motherland's calling its diaspora home. Join my voice. Join my team. Join my campaign. Campaign 21 #1 million subscribers on the Pan African Daily TV YouTube. Be a volunteer. Apply now. Be the new Africa.